I got a breast reduction when I was only 17 years old. Now I'm 20 and it's been almost 4 years, and there's a couple things that I wish I knew before getting it. Just for some background information, I actually documented the entire process of getting the surgery, answering questions, talking about the post-op recovery, and just every and anything that had to do with my surgery 4 years ago. I documented it on this YouTube channel, which I think is so cool to go back and look at. But I am gonna link all those videos in a playlist, so if you're interested in seeing like super in-depth before pictures and like a super in-depth what I did the day before the surgery and what I did after it, like all of that is here in this playlist. So you can check that out if you want. The main thing that I really want to emphasize throughout this entire video is that I was only 17 years old, and even though I felt so old and mature, I knew nothing. I didn't realize how much more growing, changing, and living there was to do, and just how much I would mature, and just like overall how much my life would change in such a short span of time. But the truth is, I was only 17 years old. I decided to get it when I was 16, and it was like a 6 to 8 month process of me figuring everything out before I actually got the surgery. So 16, 17 was when I made this choice. I very much want to emphasize my age because while I didn't regret anything, and I still 100% know for a fact a breast reduction was the best thing I could have ever done for myself. Like, I'm not denying that by any means, but I am saying there's a couple things I wish I had known, realized, and understood before I got the surgery that would have just made everything a little bit easier for me, would have made it a little more easier to cope with. The first thing I wish I knew was that my body was still changing, and up there was still going to be changing to years after the surgery. Of course, people told me this, and I knew like I wasn't quite done with puberty, and I knew there'd be more changes and whatnot, but like I didn't think it would be as big of a thing as it was. From 17 to 18, I'd say my body stayed pretty much the same. These were the same size as after my surgery, and it was great, fun, good. Then from like 19 to 20, so this last year, that's when I saw the most changes in my body and just overall grew up a lot. I think I look a lot more like womanly now, and I've definitely like filled into different parts of my body and just like, you know, like grew into what I will most likely probably look like for the rest of life. So before my surgery, I was a size K, and I got all the way down to a size D. And then after I went through this whole like body fluctuation growing thing, I'm now like a double D, triple D. And even though that still sounds kind of big, compared to what I had, they are so much better. Like, I'm not complaining by any means, but I think it's important to understand that getting the surgery doesn't exempt you from the natural progression and like maturity and changes that your body's gonna go through from the ages of 17 into your 20s. And I say I wish I knew this, and I want to tell you about it because over those spans of my body changing and growing, I was thinking, you know, should I have waited until I was done with puberty to get this surgery? And while maybe in another life that's what I ended up doing, in this one, that's not what I did, and I do not have any regrets whatsoever. I can't go back and change time, so all I can do is work with myself and figure it all out. I know for a fact a big reason for my size changing is simply just because I gained weight, and that's perfectly fine, perfectly okay. I don't know why I expected to stay as tiny as I was when I was in high school and when I was a cheerleader and a swimmer and like working out every single day. I don't know why I expected to stay that tiny. It is what it is, and that's just the natural progression of life, and that's like a personal journey that I'd have to go on with myself and like maybe try to lose weight, maybe not. I honestly don't really care. Like, I'm very happy with the size. I think I fill in my clothes nicely, so it's really not even that big of a deal to me, but I just wish I had known they were still gonna change and fluctuate, and it would have made that process of changing and growing a lot easier for me and a lot easier. I don't think I would have felt as like bad or felt as questionable if I had just realized like, you know, it's gonna change and that's okay. Next, I wish I knew that yes, there were gonna be scars, but no, they were not gonna be this huge thing. When I was in the process of deciding if I wanted to get this surgery or not, one of the biggest questions and things and moments that felt so like defining were when I was realizing like, I'm gonna have scars on my chest. Like, there's gonna be marks there. I will never just have like the clean cookie cutter breasts that, you know, we always see, or we imagine, I guess. We don't see that often. And I just wish I had known that it really was not a big deal. And I wish I had known how well my scars were gonna heal and how almost oblivious to the fact that I am right now that I even have them. When I look in the mirror, they're literally the last thing I notice, and 99.9% of the time, it's not even anything that I think about or look at or think like, oh my gosh, they're there. Like, I wish I could tell you how little I care about it at all. I know a lot of people are comfortable sharing pictures of their scars, but I'm not at that point and I probably will never share them. So just trust me when I say like they're almost non-existent. Of course, I know it's a personal thing and it's all about your makeup that determines what your scarring looks like. But at the beginning of my process, like when I was like a year and a half, 2 years in, I still did have pretty heavy scarring, and still then it just wasn't a big deal for me. It wasn't something that I was always looking at, always thinking about. If anything, I was looking at them and feeling gratitude and feeling so thankful that I even had the opportunity to get their surgery, and just like admiring how much my life changed and how amazing things became after it. And I say I wish I knew this because I spent so much time talking about it, thinking about it, looking up pictures, and just like worrying that these scars were gonna make like this intimate part of my body like something that I should shy away from and I shouldn't embrace. And I'm like, it literally means nothing at this point. Like, I don't think about it, care about it. Like, I wish I could explain it better, but they're not that big of a deal. They're not. Next, I wish I knew that people's opinions are none of my business. I have to say this because if you are anything like I was at 17, I know how important everyone else feels. I cared so much what everyone was saying. And although I was super confident in myself and I knew that no one was gonna like sway my opinions on getting one or not, I still wanted to know what everyone was thinking, good or bad. And it just felt like something that I had to share and something that like I had to talk about. And I just don't know why I craved everyone's opinion so much. I wish I could go back and tell myself like, Maya, relax, it does not matter. And that was the lesson that I literally learned like the year after I had gotten the surgery. Just how as long as I'm happy, as long as I'm not hurting anyone, as long as I have my family support, as long as I have my close good couple friends, like it literally does not matter what anyone is thinking about you. And this does not just go for getting surgery, this literally goes for everything in life. So I promise you, if you're thinking about getting this surgery, as long as you're happy with it, as long as you have your family support, who cares? Who cares what everyone is saying? At the end of the day, this is a choice for you and a decision that's going to change your life drastically for the better. For the next point, I wish I understood that a breast reduction surgery is a super big deal, but it's not the only thing about me. What I mean by this is, yes, it's going to be life-changing, as I've said like 40 times already. Your quality of life is going to improve so drastically, and at some point you're going to like forget what life was even like before the surgery. And I just think it's the most beautiful experience. It's a beautiful journey. It's great learning to love yourself again and learning to be comfortable in your own body, and just like I am a 100% supporter of a breast reduction, like 100% support. So what I mean by this is that yes, it's important to you, but not every single person in your life needs to know about it, needs to know every detail, needs to even know that you got one. If you have a bigger chest, like I said, I was a size K, you know how I feel. It is so hard to hide them. You really can't wear certain things without trying to look like you're doing too much, or even when you try to hide them, they're still super big. So like, you can't miss them. They're there and they're a thing, and it just is what it is. So with that, when it came time to get my surgery, no one was surprised. And I remember when I got back from the surgery and I finally went back to school, I had so many questions. I was talking about it all day, every day. I had adults and friends and family members, and even just like people who could have seen one of my YouTube videos, like they would be DMing me or commenting on my videos. And just like, it seemed like everyone in my life was so interested in this surgery, and a lot of people I spoke to wanted to get it, or a lot of people were just curious, or whatever the case that they were asking. It doesn't really matter, but the point was, it felt like every single person knew about the surgery and wanted to talk to me about it. And I just feel like it became a thing. Like, if you want to get a breast reduction, or if you're curious, like, go to Maya. She's right there. She'll answer all your questions. And that's fine and great and good, but I have to say, like, that first year of my surgery, I was talking about it nonstop. And I thought it was great that I was able to share my experience with everyone. But then when I left for college, I realized no one needs to know. There's of course still people here that I've met at college that I've talked to about it, or like expressed my story to and whatnot, which is great and cool and fun, but like I don't have to share it. And at this point, I have some really great friends at college who I have expressed this self to, but someone walking down the street isn't gonna know, isn't gonna realize. I don't have to tell them, I don't have to talk about it. I just feel like that's not who I am, and that's not all that I am, and there's so much more to me than just this little piece on my chest, you know? So while I appreciate all of it and I love sharing the experience and talking to people about it, like, I wish I had known it didn't need to be this main event, and I wish I knew how much more I was worth outside of just being this like tool for people to talk to and try to help people understand. And I hope you can understand that too, especially if you don't know anyone who's ever gotten one before. It's very likely once you get it, everyone is gonna wanna know about it, and there'll be a lot of people coming to you saying, oh, I always wanted to get one, oh, what was it it like, you know, or just being curious, like I said earlier. But just remember, there's so much more to you than just this surgery, and you do not have to share anything that you do not want to share. You don't even have to tell anyone if you don't want to. Like, it's really not anyone's business what you're doing with your body. And the last thing I wish I knew is that, sure, there's gonna be some pain, it's a surgery, it's inevitable, but it is not as bad as you think it'll be. I know for a fact every single person who has ever gotten a breast reduction, who has ever gotten a knee surgery, a nose job, a hair implant, I don't know, literally any sort of cosmetic, physical surgery that you have to like go under the knife for and be in anesthesia for, like, I know for a fact we all get nervous. I know for a fact we all question it. I know for a fact we're all just thinking like, is this good? Am I okay? What am I doing? Blah, blah, blah. It's a common thing. I just felt so much worry and like almost anxiety over like, what's it gonna be like after? Like, yes, I was super excited for the cute tops I can wear and how much happier I'll be, but I was more so concerned about like, am I gonna be bedridden for a month? Am I not gonna be able to lift anything? Am I gonna get depressed for sitting in the house all day? Like, what am I gonna do? Blah, blah, blah. What's this post-op situation gonna be like? I just remember thinking about it so much and having so many conversations around what life would be like then, and I just wish I could have told myself like, it will be okay, it will be fine. Again, of course, this is not the case for every single person who gets this surgery, but I know myself and a lot of people who I've talked to who've had it have had a very easy recovery, like a couple days and they're feeling pretty good again. I personally had no pain whatsoever. Like, sure, there was like a little tingle here and there, and like I obviously felt like I had just had surgery, like I was tired and drained. It wasn't anything like unbearable. I wasn't like sitting there like, oh my god, like, which is what I thought was gonna happen. So I just wish I knew it was not gonna be that bad. Like, I could take a couple chill pills and like dial it down a little bit. Like, I was gonna be okay. Thankfully, I had an amazing support system and my family was super great with doing everything for me and like helping me out, and I had people send me stuff, and like it was just very nice. But even without all of that, just the pain levels themselves would have been very bearable. With this, I still want to say, please still give yourself like the 2-3 weeks recovery that like a doctor would recommend, but you probably are not gonna need that long, but still take it, because why not? So I just wish I could have told myself, it won't be that bad, Maya. Like, you can relax a little bit, don't be so worried, and the results will be amazing, so it won't even matter if it did hurt, because I would have been so happy anyway. So those are the top things I wish I knew before I got my breast reduction. I wanted to focus this way more on the physical, emotional, mental things that I wish I knew, rather than talking about like insurance and the price and like picking a doctor and all of that stuff, because while the logistics are of course super important and you want to do your research and you want to make sure everything's in order, make sure insurance is all good, I do feel like there's a huge gap that we don't really speak about, whereas you're dealing with mental changes and physical changes, and just like seeing yourself in this different light, at least for myself, that I couldn't see myself in before, because I just felt like they were such this like defining factor for me. But that is everything I have to say about getting a breast reduction. I know I've said it 100 million times already, but it truly did change my life. I can't imagine what I would feel like or be doing, or just like how life would be if I didn't get the surgery. And if you're someone who hasn't gotten it before, or someone who isn't even thinking about getting a breast reduction, you were just curious and clicked on this, it might sound crazy to be like, I don't, like, how could that happen? Like, how could your life be that much better? But it really is true, especially being like a teenager and having to deal with all of the like over sexualization that happens when you have a larger chest. Like, I just remember how like mentally those things kind of affected me, and I'm really glad that I've grown from it and learned from it and just like become more of a woman than I've ever been before at this point. Like, I do actually feel like I kind of have somewhat of an idea of things, even though I know 10 years from now, 5 years from now, I'll probably look back and be like, 20-year-old me knew nothing. But that is gonna be the end of this video. If you're interested in more like breast reduction content, I would love to make some more videos about this, especially now given my new perspective on it and everything. So you can leave any questions, comments, concerns down below. I hope to see you on my other social media platforms. I post videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. so it's never too long before there's a new upload from me. But I will see you in my next video. And if you're on the journey of getting your breast reduction or thinking about it, just know you are 100% supported by the universe. Whatever you want will come back to you tenfold in the best ways possible. And I just hope we can all take the little leap of faith and get it if you can, get it if you're able to, because I promise you, it will be so much better after. Like, you will be the happiest girl alive. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of this. I'll see you in my next video.